troubles come and my heart burdened be, then I am still and wait here in the silence until you come and sit a while with me. You raise me up so I can
Please stand.
stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be.
Please be seated. Good afternoon, and welcome to the celebration of life for Melusha Marie Charles. My name is Reverend Beth Charles, and Marie was and will always be my sister-in-law. And it is my deep, deep honor to be the officiant for this event. Andy, my brother, Brenna, Mitchell, Victoria, and their partners are very pleased that you could join them today to share with them the memories, the stories, the anecdotes of Marie as wife, mother, sister, colleague, and many friends. An appreciation to those that traveled from afar today. Cousin Marg and Mike and Aaron from Sudbury, Tereshka, Lynette, Kathy from New Liskeard, and Andre from England. Today, you will hear words similar to courage, bravery, strength, dedication, creativity, unique, charitable, family-oriented, loving, and loved. For those of you that know Marie well, you will know or certainly understand that she planned this event. Each and every part of it, from the venue, and thank you to Mount Pleasant, the music selections, the poetry, even the menu for after, and the color of the chrysanthemums at the front. And very likely, she had a hand in today's weather. Marie's request is that today's event is one of uplifting and celebratory, and that we listen to and reflect on the stories and memories that are presented and are possibly inspired by what you hear and experience, because it will be those memories that will encourage, support for everyone as they move on with their lives. A few of Marie's favorite sayings were, do good and live in the moment, which she certainly did. Perhaps we can all learn from that. From Henry Scott Holland. Death is nothing at all. It does not count. I have only slipped away into the next room. Nothing has happened. Everything remains exactly as it was. I am I, and you are you. And the old life we live so fondly together is untouched and unchanged. Whatever we were to each other, that we still are. Call me by the old familiar name. Speak of me in the easy way you always used. Put no difference in your tone. Wear no forced air of solemnity or sorrow. Laugh as we always laughed, at the little jokes that we enjoyed together. Play, smile, think of me, pray for me. Let my name be ever the household word that it always was. Let it be spoken without an effort, without the ghost of a shadow upon it. Life means all that it ever meant. It is the same as it ever was. There is absolute and unbroken continuity. What is death but this negligible accident? Why should I be out of mind because I'm out of sight? I am but waiting for you, for an interval, somewhere very near, just around the corner. All is well. Nothing is hurt. Nothing is lost. One brief moment, and all will be as it was before. And how we shall laugh at the trouble of parting when we meet again. I'd like to invite Marie's children, Mitchell, Brenna, and Victoria, to the podium.
Many of you here may have seen the words hanky-panky on various emails, t-shirts, or used in conversation in association with my mom's journey these last 4.5 years. The uninitiated may be asking, how can such a phrase possibly be tied to something as devastating as cancer? The answer boils down to my mom's lighthearted and fun approach to life. Hanky-panky was so named simply because she decided it should be. She was too fun-loving to let a cancer diagnosis dampen her spirit. Mom never viewed cancer as a fight or a battle, but just a bump in the road that required one to make a few minor adjustments. It wasn't long ago that my mother brought our family to this very room, and with her usual practicality began pointing out what she envisioned for today to look like, directing us on things from multimedia to catering. Meanwhile, the rest of us were just trying to keep composed long enough to remember half of what she was arranging. Yes, leave it to my mom, Marie, to have a hand in planning her own memorial. To those who knew her, I'm sure you also wouldn't be surprised to hear that in the last week, we've received calendar reminders that she had set for us, just to ensure we wouldn't forget to follow through on the administrative tasks that she normally took ownership of. This was who she was, practical, but with the right amount of fun and love. She made sure everything was set for us to continue living our lives as easily as possible. From, again, organizing the catering here, to also having professionally recorded her reading all her favorite children's stories, just to ensure any future grandchildren could listen to her comforting bedtime narrations. If there's a silver lining to the cloud of a terminal illness, it is that you know to not leave any words unspoken or leave any day unfulfilled. In her 62 years, she has left nothing on the table. Arguably, she's lived more than most in the last 5 years alone. Those 5 years included truffle hunting in Tuscany, leaping off waterfalls in St. Lucia, swimming with the piggies in Bahamas, sunsets in Turks and Caicos, slalom water skiing on Sturgeon Lake, and golfing on world-renowned courses. All those things with stage 4 pancreatic cancer. To be clear though, it wasn't the diagnosis that sparked in her a desire to live life to the fullest. It was a lifestyle that she embraced her entire life, and one that she managed to continue by the family self-insuring her, as medical travel insurance was no longer an option. While we are all in awe of how she lived with cancer, Mom wouldn't want us to remember her just for that. From summiting Kilimanjaro, to scuba diving with the sharks in the Caribbean Sea, to skiing in Colorado with new friends, my mom was not one to let an opportunity ever pass by, much to my dad's occasional exhaustion. It was typically my mom leading the charge and us kids following suit, with dad providing the risk oversight. The three of us kids were quick to pick up skiing due to my mom's involvement with our school Avondale ski program. And with my mom's planning, we eventually started annual family ski trips to Vermont. She was strong and athletic. That Kilimanjaro climb I mentioned, I joined her for that, and despite me at the time being a 21-year-old varsity athlete, it was my 50-year-old mother who was helping me get to the top. And yes, I think there's a photo somewhere here of me, dead exhausted at the summit, with my mom next to me, bubbling with energy and wearing a novelty hat that she lugged up the mountain just for the occasion. From organizing our middle school graduation to planning her own graduation here today, graduation is what she referred to it, my mom was never one to miss out on planning and putting her energy into something. Shortly after her diagnosis, she made the decision to touch up our family home and move herself and dad into a new condo overlooking Toronto Harbor. Laughing at her own morbidity, she once joked, "Not only is it a view to die for, but a view I plan to die in." She was never scared of death, and even in the minutes before leaving us, she beckoned us to her room with an upbeat, "Come on, I've got places to go." She stayed true to her nature to the very end, and not once showed any fear of going into the unknown. As she fell into her deep sleep, her last words were ones of love to her family. We are fortunate that she set a strong family foundation that we can continue to find support in. She forged those family bonds by always being present in our school lives, our social lives, athletics, and encouraged my dad to do the same. She valued character over status and taught us to be good and do good. The many lessons I learned from her, I hope to pass on to her grandson, who is still too little to understand why his mama gran won't be at the cottage door greeting him the next time we go up. Now, my mom was too practical to get emotional over the finality that hung about death, and too caring to want anyone here to feel sadness. Mom, I miss you, and I love you, and I will continue to celebrate your life in all that I do. We are so grateful to have had you in our lives. Thank you.
Thank you all for being here to celebrate the life of my mom, Malusha Marie Charles. It is truly great to see everyone here to celebrate the life of my mom in great numbers, which I believe is a testament to how many lives she has touched. I want to let you know that we all appreciate the kind words, stories, and memories that have been shared with us over the last 2 weeks. Kind, caring, and determined are some of the common words that were used in these memories. Based on the stories I hear about her childhood, kind and caring might not be the words my two sisters, or her two sisters, would use to describe her, but there's no denying she was determined. When she set her mind to something, it was getting done. Mom lived life to the fullest, and she didn't shy away from any challenges. As Brenna alluded to, having climbing Mount Kilimanjaro, the tallest mountain in Africa, in her 50s, to skiing on some of the tallest mountains in North America, and consistently sitting atop the leaderboard of our daily family Fitbit step count challenge, often getting over 20,000 steps a day. Those who knew Mom know that she would put others ahead of her, she treated everyone equal, and she looked out for those in need. In fact, the very evening before she passed, or in her words, graduated, she insisted that we make a trip to the Salvation Army to donate some of her clothes, as well as other odds laying around the cottage, because she wouldn't be able to rest peacefully knowing that she didn't help out those in need one last time. Mom was instrumental in shaping our childhood, from being heavily involved in every parent council at her schools growing up, to setting up a reading buddy program for kindergartners at Avondale, which she kept going after we had moved on from kindergarten, to organizing the Generational Gap Challenge, where she coordinated a competition between students at her school and their parents that involved sports, games, and a talent show. The whole school participated, all on a Saturday. I can recall being late for hockey practice because my mom was busy helping two of my classmates come up with a dance for the talent show. She always treated others as if they were her own. While it breaks my heart that my mom won't be there for my wedding day, or to be a mama grand for my future children, I will forever be grateful that the qualities and lessons that she's passed on to us will stick with us forever and be passed on to our children. Mom, I will miss our nightcaps on the balcony, overlooking the Toronto Harbor, counting shooting stars at the hot tub in the cottage, and golfing at courses I otherwise wouldn't have been able to afford myself. Thank you for helping me navigate my way through my youth and keeping me going in tough times. In closing, to quote from the book my mom used to read us as children, "Mom, I love you forever. I'll like you for always. As long as I'm living, my mama you'll be."
A Golden Heart Stopped Beating by Brenda Riley Seymour. A golden heart stopped beating. Hard-working hooves went to rest. God broke our hearts to prove to us he only takes the best. Don't cry for the horses that life has set free, a million white horses forever to be. Don't cry for the horses now in God's hands, as they dance and they prance to a heavenly band. They were ours as a gift, but never to keep, as they closed their eyes, forever to sleep. Their spirits unbound, on silver wings they fly, a million white horses against the blue sky. Look up into heaven, you'll see them above, the horses we lost, the horses we loved. Manes and tails flowing, they gallop through time. They were never yours, they were never mine. Don't cry for the horses, they will be back someday. When our time has come, they will show us the way. On silver wings they will lift us to the warmth of the sun, when our life is over and eternity is begun. We will jump the sun and dance over the moon, a ballet of horses and riders on the winds of a heavenly tune. Do you hear that soft nicker close to your ear? Don't cry for the horses, love the ones that are here. Don't cry for the horses, lift up your sad eyes. Can't you see them as they fly by? A million white horses, free from hunger and pain, their spirits set free until we ride again. I love you, Mommy. Thank you for everything that you did for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Andy?
You guys did great. You're putting a lot of pressure on the old man. Marie would be so happy to see this many people here today. She'd be energized by it. She'd be excited by it. And then I could imagine her whispering over to me and said, "Is anybody working?" But she'd be delighted. She would be delighted. Malusha Marie Charles. Malusha to her family, Marie to the world, Mom to us, and a hero to those who watched her journey, a real hero. It was 1979 when this poor boy from Scarborough laid eyes on this beautiful woman as she walked into our English class at the University of Toronto. She walked confidently on her own, not part of a group. Right away, I was enamored by her, enamored with her. Two thoughts began racing through my mind. First, Andy, summon the courage to introduce yourself. Secondly, Andy, bring your A game because this lady's way out of your league. On the second point, I would say that's a sentiment Malusha has agreed with for most of the 43 years we've been together. I believe Malusha intended to keep me at a distance by suggesting we attend the famous Samuel Beckett play, Waiting for Godot. If anybody's had the pleasure of seeing Waiting for Godot, it's not the most romantic setting. After that episode, she followed up with an immediate offer to accompany her on a 20-kilometer race the next week. This set the tone for our relationship. She led, and I constantly chased. It was her way of saying, try to keep up with me, Andy. Always seeking new adventures and explorations. After a master's degree in New York, Marie pursued a career as a speech pathologist, first with the Durham School Board and later with the Toronto District School Board. Marie made an impact wherever she went, extroverted, engaging, never shying away from a challenge or having any tolerance for bureaucracy. Marie was a superb athlete, a trait our children inherited, and whether it was squash, baseball, skiing, and later in life golf, she just excelled at all her endeavors. It just came easy to Marie, or she certainly made it appear that way. We were married in 1984, and our happy twosome became a threesome in 1988 with Brenna's birth, later followed with Victoria and Mitchell. Marie was an extraordinary mother, as you've heard, who encouraged an active lifestyle, leading by his example, as you heard from our children. She took on the lion's share of raising our children during the early years. And despite this unbalanced scales, she would say to me, don't worry, I got this. You're not good on too many things, so please focus on business. I'm never quite sure how to take that. Marie's commitment to her family was evidenced by her actions. To this day, we talk daily with our children, staying close to their lives, planning family holidays, special events, occasionally offering unsolicited advice. Marie was the consummate planner and organizer. And when she volunteered, she didn't just show up. She brought tremendous energy and creativity to her project. This was a woman who only gave and never took. Her volunteer work at Avondale was so impressive, working with Jocelyn and the Avondale team, implementing programs such as the Reading Mentor, Shakespeare's Twelfth Night Puppet Show, and the very famous Generation Gap Challenge. As further evidence, one Christmas season, she woke up and said, Andy, get ready, we're going to provide hockey equipment to underprivileged children in North York. And within a few weeks, we had a U-Haul full of hockey equipment, and we're making multiple trips to the designated school. Marie could never do anything half-baked or half-measured. She only knew how to do it right, and then she always did it right. Marie's fun-loving and creative nature is best illustrated with our annual Christmas tree hunts. Each year, we hide a Christmas tree around our Bob Cajun property, and Marie creates a series of clues for our kids and their partners to find out where the Christmas tree is hidden this year. Each year we did that, and the clues got tougher and tougher. She so enjoyed developing this game. Marie was always ahead of the curve, too. You know, before having matching pajamas for a Christmas picture became a thing, Marie had already done that with our family. She even found my 1963 edition of 'Twas the Night Before Christmas, and we started a family tradition of reading it on Christmas Eve. And to this day, our family gathers to listen to a reading of this classic. When we received the diagnosis of pancreatic cancer in 2018, it was devastating to me. It was devastating to our family, but not to Marie. That night, I remember telling her, I said, honey, we have the resources, we have the energy, we're going to fight this, and that means traveling the world to look for the best care. We're going to do that, and we're not going to surrender. She looked at me. She looked at me the way a mother looks at a 4-year-old child and said, it's part of me. I'm going to live with it. Don't use the words fight or war. I'm going to show people how to live life to the fullest with a pretty serious disease. And just so you know, Andy, I've named it Hanky Panky. Only Marie would name a tumor. Marie would never tell people she was suffering from cancer. She told people she was living with cancer. And did she ever live? For over 4+ years, she lived with it, and it was a distinction Marie would often make. This woman, Malusha Marie, never had an ounce of pity or being a victim. She was too busy for that. Feeling sorry for herself was never part of her makeup. When Marie advised Sunnybrook of her plans for an upcoming family trip, the oncologist said, "Hold off, let's see how we're doing. You shouldn't go. Maybe Marie isn't capable of traveling." I think that just irritated Marie, because once we got home, she immediately booked our family to Jamaica for a Christmas getaway. And that trip, she traveled with us a day after her chemo treatment. Marie's amazing success over the last 4.5 years, in my view, lies partly with her approach to life, living in the moment and constantly leading her various projects. She moved, as Brenna indicated, she moved our family from Willowdale to a lakefront property downtown because she wanted to be close to water, whether it's in Bobcaygeon or Toronto. And bless her, she wanted me to be able to walk to work. She helped Mitchell and Victoria enter the housing market as first-time buyers. And when the exciting news of Brenna and Andrew expecting a child, she immediately turned one of her rooms into a nursery for a baby Archer at home, complete with crib, high chair. It quickly became a nursery. And Victoria, I'm sorry you lost a room, but we'll find a spot for you when you come over. As Brenna suggested, today is a surreal day for our family. It was just a few weeks ago we were in this room with Marie, the CEO, directing traffic, telling us what we're going to do. I'm kind of glad she let us write our speeches on our own. She decided on her terms the timing of her graduation, as she referred to it. Her only request to me, I don't want to suffer. Don't you ever hospitalize me. And remember, Andy, a day early is better than a day late. She made me repeat that the last part a few times. Smart and pragmatic to the very end. On her last day, as Mitchell referenced, she still had more Fitbit steps than the rest of us. On that last day, those who receive our updates, know that there was a memorial tree planting at her favorite golf course that the golf course put on. When we approached that memorial tree planting ceremony and she saw the Canadian flag at half-mast, a small tear of understanding formed in Marie's eyes. She was happy. We called each other polar buddies, so different but so complementary. It was a wonderful relationship. We would argue, of course, but as soon as I recognized I was in the wrong, it was quickly forgotten. We've received many kind messages from colleagues, family, and friends over the past few weeks, and they mean a lot to us. And I find the most common message is wishing Marie to rest in peace or a safe passage. What I'd like to say to the people gathered here today, for those of you that knew Marie, you know she would never be caught resting. She was just too busy. It's been my greatest honor to be your husband, to be your companion, and to walk with you these past 40 years. I think you knew I worship the ground you walked on. Love you. Thank you.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you, kids. From Christina Rossetti. Remember me when I am gone away, gone far away into the silent land, when you can no more hold me by my hand, nor I have half turned to go yet turning stay. Remember me when no more day by day. You tell me of our future, that you planned. Only remember me. You understand. It will be late to counsel then or to pray. Yet if you should forget me for a while and afterwards remember, do not grieve. For if in the darkness and corruption leave a vestige of the thoughts that I once had, better by far you should forget and smile than that you should remember and be sad. And now we have the pleasure of viewing a video tribute to Marie, a collection of photos to enjoy and reflect on Marie's life.
I'm leaving on a jet plane. I don't know when I'll be back again. Oh, babe, I hate to go. There's so many.
Excuse me, coming through, sorry, coming through. Made it. Sorry I'm running so late. I had a few errands to complete. You know, it's never been easy for me to be anywhere on time. My family knows this well. And so does anyone that I have ever worked with or played sports with. You know, my original Mama Grand, she would chastise me for being late to the dinner table, saying, Malusha, you will be late for your own funeral. Well now, how could I possibly let her down? Well, here I am then. I'm here for my graduation. Well, you see, I felt earlier this year that my passing was more like graduating from the here and now to the everywhere and always. You know, there's something grand about that concept. I do feel like that's what has happened. Take a moment, close your eyes, feel the air around your skin. Listen to the world just outside yourselves. I am there. In the words of the poet Walt Whitman, I am large. I contain multitudes. You know, my graduations from elementary, secondary, and post-secondary school were unremarkable. Row upon row of black gowns, being led to the stage to shake hands with the principal or provost or principal, and collecting a blank piece of paper rolled up with a red ribbon. A quick photo. Well, what I missed the most was being bestowed upon that coveted role of valedictorian. I was not ever in the running with my mousy voice, paucity of vocabulary, and fear of the limelight. Well, how have things changed over the years? Today, I would like to share with some of you the highlights of my years on this planet and to inspire each and every one of you with my stories so that hopefully you will leave here wanting to carry on my torch of kindness, goodwill, and my sense of adventure. So, how do you measure a successful life? Is it the moments of satisfaction at a goal accomplished? Is it the number of warm embraces that you have given and received, be they verbal or physical? Well, I have been blessed with an abundance of both, and I am grateful for that. So maybe you start with a big dream, or maybe it's okay to start with a just right dream. Not too big, not too small. When I was in grade 5, I wanted to be a geologist. I liked rocks and minerals, but I had no mentors to guide me in that direction. Then, in grade 10, I wanted to be a gym teacher because I thought they got to play sports all day. And then I realized they were actually struggling to motivate young women to play sports and get physical. And it wasn't easy. This was even before electronics and social media took a hold of the next generation. Then I discovered the field of communication disorders, very accidentally. I was reading a column in the Maclean's magazine, 1979 edition, about a rehab program at SickKids Hospital for children with maxillofacial disorders. I liked the fact that speech pathology combined sciences with the helping profession. Well, this was the just right dream for me. I had stumbled upon it, and this dream allowed me to build lifelong friendships, loads of laughter, and wonderful memories. And I hope that you have been as fortunate as I have in landing a career that is as satisfying in so many ways. Thank you, Kathy, Teresa, Anila, Brenda, and Lori, amongst many other Durham dames, for indulging my crazy ideas that took collaboration to new heights. Oh, do you need to be considered a successful athlete in your life? Do you want to be an Olympian? Well, my parents both had pretty good genes, very athletic, and did well in the sports field. And surprisingly, my sisters and I were blessed with their same genes. We took to sports like a fish to water. Well, actually, when it came to water, I was more like a frightened kitten, failing each Red Cross test at least once. From those unremarkable lessons, I am happy to say that I conquered swimming. First, in a swimming pool as a lifeguard and a swim instructor, and then I migrated to the challenge of the Kawartha Lakes as a slalom water skier, not afraid of those weeds. And finally, I even had a chance to scuba dive with sharks in the open waters of the Bahamas in 2017. I am here to tell you that anything is possible if you take it one step at a time, or should I say one stroke at a time. So my mother wanted us to be all Canadian kids. She enrolled us in family weekend memberships at Uplands Ski Hole and as well as Don Mills Ski Hole in North York. My sisters and I suffered freezing temperatures of the 1960s to learn our stem Christies and our parallel turns. I dreaded those winter weekends, but they led me to spending time with my kids on the Avondale Alternative School ski days, as well as holidays in Vermont at Jay Peak. Now, what Ontario skier doesn't dream about skiing the Rockies? Well, Colorado, Whistler, and Lake Louise were served up to me a few years ago. How ultra satisfying it was to look out over the vast expanse of mountain range before skiing a perfectly groomed trail or tackling a fresh mound of powder snow. I felt small and yet large. Were these the multitudes the poet spoke of? Will you be in the moment when these moments approach you? Now, I would be remiss if I did not mention the friendships that I developed as a parent volunteer at Avondale. Jocelyn, Sheila, Stella, Helen, thank you for your continued support these past 4 years since my diagnosis of cancer. Speaking of, over the past several years, people have asked me, how can you be so accepting of your situation? and I can't help but respond to them. But I've lived a full life. I have experienced everything I could have dreamed of and more. I have had that ice cream sundae with the whipped cream, the butterscotch topping, the chocolate sprinkles, and the cherry on top. Several times over. And I hope you will too. So, for those of you who know me well, thank you for sharing your love, your laughter, and your moments of joy. I wish nothing but the best for you. Oh, I got my wings. I guess that means I've arrived. Well, some of me will lie here, and some of me will be scattered in the Kawartha Lakes, and even some of me will be carried with my beloveds as they see fit. But all of me will be above all of you, looking out for you, looking over you, watching out for you with all my love. So I have put off long enough the hardest part of my goodbyes. My immediate family, Andy, Brenna, Victoria Mitchell. How did we get to be such a close-knit, dynamic family? We call ourselves the Fam Jam, the Charles Fam Jam. Well, I'd like to believe that it was a combination of love, encouragement, adventurous spirit, and effort. After my diagnosis of pancreatic cancer in September of 2018, we formed the Hanky Panky Project team, with each member being assigned a specific role to match their expertise. This wasn't the try hard team. This was the get her done team. You know, there was the research consultant, the communications advisor, the cooking and cleaning supervisor, and leading the charge for better treatment options was our fearless leader, Andy Charles. I was the project. I am sure that this team gave me the extra 4 years of highly fulfilling time that is practically unheard of in people with stage 4 pancreatic cancer. There are no words to acknowledge the depth of my gratitude to these 4 human beings for enriching my life and for looking out for me and looking after me these past 4 years. Brenna, you were always the pensive one, hiding that crystal heart of yours that could shatter any moment if something in your life went awry. Your world was turned upside down when you first heard of my condition. Remember, you used to come all the way across the city from work to spend a few hours beside me on my chemo days. And then when Archer came along, you made sure to build as many memories and document them for his future reflections of his one and only Mama Grand. Thank you. I love you forever. Now, Victoria, you always wore your heart on your sleeve. We knew exactly how you were feeling because you came across loud and clear. You wanted the best for me, and you came up with ways to ensure that. Remember this, you printed out a list of what visitors' rules were, and you posted it on the door of the Africa room. That was the spare bedroom in Hollywood Avenue, decorated with relics from Kenya, that I spent my first 4 days of chemo treatment every other week early on. what was on that piece of paper you want to know. Things like sanitize your hands before you enter, wear a mask, do not take up more time than is absolutely necessary, and ask what Milady would care for. How did I get so lucky to have your constant loving, caring, attentive presence, even after you moved to your very own home last winter? Well, thank you for putting me first, even before your pupperoonies. Thank you for the countless "I love you, Ma," and the squeezy hugs. You are like Kangaroo's little Roo from Winnie the Pooh, not far from my pouch at all, and ready to hop in at a moment's notice. I love you so much. Mitchell, you act stoic and you put on a brave front, but I know you worry about how the Charles Fam Jam will cope without the matriarch and CEO. But please know that I have been grooming your dad to take over critical roles like changing the furnace filter and the water filters, directing all the service providers, and emptying the dishwasher. He knows you have his back too. You have always been able to calm me down when I go on a silly little rant with your mama kaboosh tone of voice. Mitchell, thank you for reminding me what is important in life with your words and actions. I love you always and everywhere. Andy, stop crying. I realize that nothing can prepare you for the eventuality that we does indeed become me, especially after 43 years of togetherness. When we first made our vows 38 years ago, for better or worse, who would have thought that it would be you looking after me? Well, I apologize for taking you out of your comfort zone. I always wanted to make life easy for you so that you could focus on what you were truly gifted in. We have had such a rich marriage with nothing left undone. We have raised 3 magnificent kids who have found partners that we confidently know will continue what we have modeled as true family commitment. We have traveled to places that neither of us dreamed of going to as youngsters. We have teased each other to the very end, the same way that we teased each other when we were first dating. Oh, the quips and the giggles and the laughter. We have felt deep love for each other. Andy, if loyal is your middle name, then tenacious should be your last name. These last few years, you were the one who was persistent in caring for me, never wavering once. All those doctor's appointments and clinic appointments, they would have worn a mere mortal down. But you always made time for me. You learned how to shop for groceries, prescription drugs, and supplements for me. I am truly blessed to have found you and kept you. You know, when we first met in university, I had no idea I could learn so much from you, a C+ student who surrounded himself with A+ friends and associates, and now successfully runs an organization with A+ employees. Thank you for always reminding me, people over things. That's right, people over things. Do you remember pretending to study poetry with me in English class? And I recited Elizabeth Barrett Browning's words to you. How do I love thee? Let me count the ways. Well, that can never change. I shall but love thee better after death. Andy, be strong and know you will be fine. Better than fine.
I'm a-leaving on a jet plane. I don't know when I'll be back again. Oh, babe, I hate to go. Now the time has come to leave you one more time. Let me kiss you, then close your eyes. I'll be on my way. Dream about the days to come when I won't have to leave alone. About the time I won't have to say. Kiss me and smile for me. Tell me that you'll wait for me. Hold me like you'll never let me go. I'm leaving on a jet plane. I don't know when I'll be back again. Leaving on a jet plane. I don't know when I'll be back again. Leaving on a jet plane. I don't know when I'll be back again. Oh, babe, I hate to go.
Something I will take up with her the next time I do meet with her. Guests are invited to continue this celebration on the second floor at the reception room, while the immediate family will go for a private internment. We'll be back soon. Thank you very much for attending.
All my bags are packed, I'm ready to go. I'm standing here outside your door. I hate to wake you up to say goodbye, but the dawn is breaking, it's early morn. Taxi's waiting, he's blowing his horn. Already I'm so lonesome I could cry. So kiss me and smile for me. Tell me that you'll wait for me. Hold me like you'll never let me go. I'm leaving on a jet plane. I don't know when I'll be back again. Oh, babe, I hate to go. There's so many times I've let you down, so many times I've played around. I tell you now, they don't mean a thing. Every place I go, I think of you. Every song I sing for you. When I come back, I'll wear your wedding ring. So kiss me and smile for me. Tell me that you'll wait for me. Hold me like you'll never let me go. I'm leaving on a jet plane. I don't know when I'll be back again. Oh, babe, I hate to go. Now the time has come to leave you one more time. Let me kiss you, then close your eyes. I'll be on my way. Dream about the days to come when I won't have to leave alone. about the time I won't have to say. Kiss me and smile for me, tell me that you'll wait for me, hold me like you'll never let me go. I'm leaving on a jet plane, I don't know when I'll be back again. Leaving on a jet plane, I don't know when I'll be back again. Leaving on a jet plane, I don't know when I'll be back again.